welcoming in the studio this morning. We are pleased to be joined by Tom Sheppard. A very good morning to you, Tom.
Hello, thanks for having me.
You are very welcome. And well, Tom, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and why you're here.
Yeah, well, so my name's Tom Sheppard, and I grew up in the Midlands, but always loved Pembrokeshire and Wales, and we moved here about 5 or 6 years ago. And I'm an artist. I'm a painter. That's how I make a living. I've done so for about 20 years now. I was back in Swansea is where I studied geography, but then I moved into being an artist. And the reason I'm here is because I do a lot of teaching, really love teaching people to paint. And I've started to work with the Wild Emporium in St. David's, and we're going to put together, or we have put together some workshops where we're combining foraging with local plants and also painting in watercolour as well. We're kind of bringing those two things together. So that's really exciting.
That's wonderful. So the foraging, we've had, her name escapes me. She's been on the show before.
It wasn't Abby, was it?
Probably.
Yeah.
But there's so much on offer in the hedgerows and in the fields around us in Pembrokeshire that we take it for granted. And what I love about the Really Wild Emporium is that you can go on walks with them and teach you what's there. How does that link in with art and watercolour then?
Okay, so that's a really good question, because for me, I mean, at the heart of foraging is obviously getting to know everything that's around you. Like you go on a walk and you go with Abby, for example, who I'm working with, and suddenly you look with completely different eyes. Something that you've walked past 100 times, suddenly you look and you see it in a completely different way. And I think that's really interesting, particularly when you bring in what the plant can do and its properties. But I also teach people a lot of painting, and I take people painting on the coastline here in Pembrokeshire as well, and also in other places around the world. And it's in essence the same principle. Like you're teaching people to look differently. Mm-hmm. So something that they might have walked past 100 times, you're now saying like, but what if you look at it with the eyes of an artist and see how might I want to paint that? Or maybe I'll look at a scene that initially is uninteresting, but say, well, let's try and make a painting out of it. Let's look at it in a different way. So two things that seem quite different, foraging and painting, actually in essence are kind of doing the same thing. We're teaching people to look in a different way.
That's great. There was a trend on Instagram probably about 3 months ago, maybe a little bit longer, and it was like what you see, and it was the big wide picture, and then what I see, and then you would scroll to the second picture, and it would be like the different angles, the zoomed in shot, and all the different effects that they put on it. It's that kind of looking at the wider picture and thinking, actually, that bit is really interesting to me.
That's exactly what it is. And when I take people painting, we'll all be sitting, maybe 10 of us, looking at the same scene. And I give people a few cues and a few ideas, and then you end up with 10 completely different interpretations. One person might have zoomed in on a rock that they like the color of. Someone else will have looked at the distant landscape. Someone else will paint a sea or a seagull. And so you get, everyone sees the world so differently. And that's what's so fascinating about teaching. Obviously, I'm teaching people like techniques and ideas, but ultimately I'm almost just guiding them to feel free to have fun and explore the world around them, basically. That's what we're doing.
Gina.
Yeah, no, I find this absolutely wonderful and so interesting, because especially like the foraging side of things, I wouldn't know where to start. So it's brilliant that you can go on these walks and be sort of pointed in that direction. And like you say, then when you come to put it on the canvas, the paper, you are seeing things in such a different way, and everybody sees it differently.
Definitely. And I think the other fun thing is, and this is what I'll be encouraging people to do when we go out walking, we'll have a sketchbook and we'll do little sketches, but we'll also have Abby telling us about all these plants. So I encourage people to say, write down some notes about how it smells, how you feel about the plant, anything else that kind of grabs your attention or makes you excited about the whole experience, not just the plant, not just the painting, but kind of the whole experience of what you're doing, really.
That's so cool. My kind of experience is going around and seeing blackberries in the bramble bushes around the place, which is always a bit of a highlight at that time of year. Do you all art then, and what people can expect in these workshops? Is it a particular type of art? What can people expect at these different workshops?
Yeah, so I paint mostly in watercolour, and watercolour is a fantastic kind of entry point because you don't need much material. Bit of water, one brush, a few colors, and you're kind of away. And it's perfect for like wandering around and sketching. So we're doing 2 kind of little 2-hour taster sessions, which are purely in the Wild Emporium inside, and we'll have bits and bobs and people can kind of paint them, and I'll show them a few tricks and tips how to do that. And then we've got the full days where we'll go foraging in the morning. Abby's going to tell us all about all of these wonderful plants. We're going to sketch and write stuff down. Then in the afternoon, we'll come back and do some painting in the studio. And it really is for any ability, whether you've picked up a brush before or whether you've been doing it for 30 years. We're all in kind of the same boat, and that's what's so fun. Really exciting. So I'll be showing a few tips and tricks, doing a little bit of demoing, but mostly helping people just to get stuck in and get painting, get creative, have fun with it, and see where it goes, really.
That's so cool. Gina?
My thoughts on this is that it's going to take you away from the hustle and the bustle of everything that you do, and it's going to be mindfulness as well, and very good for you. That's what I'm feeling, and that's what I'm
totally agree.
Conjuring up in my mind, that it's freedom.
Yeah, I think that 100% it. I think you pretty much nailed it on the head there, because everything is busy, and painting can be very meditative. Going for a walk, very meditative. Put the two together, fantastic. As you say, kind of mindfulness. I've seen the huge benefits on people's mental and emotional health from painting. I think it's not to be underestimated at all. The same with foraging, the same with nature, the same with slowing down and observing. And when you kind of package all of this together, it just feels like a really interesting match, I think.
It's so cool. And one thing I love about doing this, and particularly watercolor, it can be quite forgiving. You don't need to be, in your own mind, a great artist. It's about your perspective and about what you can put on the paper with your own body. There's something wonderful about that. There's not a critique about it as such.
No, 100%. I think it's really important that people, and this can be hard because I think we've been brought up a little bit that there's a right and a wrong answer to
I'm
things.
that guy.
Yeah. There's always one, if not everyone. And you kind of have to break people out and say, it's okay if it's not perfect, if it's not right. It really is, without sounding a bit cliche, about enjoying the experience that you're having. And people get so absorbed by putting paint on paper. They really do. It's completely absorbing.
So let us know then, when are the workshops? When are the full day sessions? How can people find out more, and where can they book on?
I wrote this down because my memory is awful. So on the 17th of April, we have a 2-hour session at the Wild Emporium, which is, as I said, just inside, but painting like seashore plants. On the 8th of May, we have the hedgerow version of that. So 2 hours, and we're painting hedgerow plants. And then the 2 full day ones where we forage in the morning, sketch and walk, come back and paint, is the 16th of May and the 4th of July. And those are all based at the Wild Emporium in St. David's. And if you go on their website, which is wildemporium.co.uk, you'll find the information on there. Or if you go on my website, which is tomsheppardart.com, and you look for the in-person teaching, there's links from there to that as well. So there we go.
Gina, it sounds fantastic.
It does sound fantastic. And I'm just thinking, that maybe there's somebody listening right now and then thinking, what can I get my friend, my partner, somebody in the family as a present? What a fabulous present this could be.
Yeah, I think so. I think people get a little bit scared if they've never done it before, or even if they have, but it's so friendly. As I said, everyone's in the same boat, and it is for whether you've picked up a brush never before or you've been doing it a while. It's just, it's really fun to give a go.
Great. Our space is limited. Is it worth booking right now?
Definitely, yeah. I think it's maximum 10 people, and we're already booking up.
Ooh.
And the first one is next Friday. So,
yes, it is. Yeah, of course. 17th of April. Yeah. So there you go. That's one of the 2-hour sessions.
Exactly. We're almost calling it a little taster session, even though it is a standalone thing in itself. Yeah.
Oh, it sounds fantastic, Tom. Thank you so much for coming into the studio and telling us all about it. Can't wait to. You'll have to send us some of the artworks if the delegates are happy to have that shared with us as well. We'd love that.
Definitely.
Going to put you on the spot now. Is there a song that you would like us to play here on the radio?
Can you play a bit of Neil Young, Heart of Gold? Is that possible?
Let's have a look. You can hear me typing. Heart of Gold, you say. I'll be yes. I can.
Can we go for that, please?
Yes, we can. That's on the way for you next. Emma Lewis has also been in touch on WhatsApp. She's got a shout out for us to give this morning. Also, big shout out to Karen. Tom, thank you so much for joining us. Wildemporium.co.uk, tomsheppardart.com. You'll find all the information there. It's been a pleasure. We've got Neil Young, Heart of Gold playing for us next. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Gina, before we go, actually, I need to put on that horrible sound for us.
Oh, here we go.
What's your ears, Tom?
There you go. We don't need to leave the building. However, our competition for and scramble with Folly Farm has now closed.
The Breakfast Show with Gina and